Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your 2024 NFL Mock Draft WPTS Sports Edition. I'm Sean McQuillan alongside Ari Meyer. And a lot like the March Madness bracket that we filled out, we are going to be doing our first round predictions for the NFL Mock Draft. We are your number one source, obviously. We're better than like Kuiper, Schefter, name it. Like, look at us. We're like we seem professional. We got it. We've done.
Just imagine we're wearing suits.
Yeah, imagine we're wearing suits and we're practically like.
Yeah, we're basically in Detroit right now making these picks for them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way of thinking.
Anyways, let's get started.
How do we do this thing? Start. Beautiful. All right, Chicago's up first. This should be unanimous. There's rumors about it, but
No, I'm joking. Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams is our first overall pick. That's easy.
Okay.
Commanders fan.
From what I'm hearing, which I'm not a fan of, but I'm pretty sure is what's gonna happen, is Commanders take Jaden Daniels here.
Really?
Yeah. Everything I've heard over the past day or two has pointed to Jaden Daniels without question.
I've heard rumors about JJ McCarthy.
I'd rather not dwell on that, so we're going to take Jaden Daniels right here.
Fair enough. All right. New England. This is where, so originally before the whole Jaden Daniels rumors went around, this is where I had JJ McCarthy going. But with Drake May on the board, I feel like it has to be Drake May.
Or they could trade back.
And then
take JJ.
Yeah, and take JJ. Do we want to do that, or do we just want to take Drake?
Because I feel like there is going to be a trade in the top 5, and I feel like this is the most likely spot.
Really? I was taking the Chargers, if anything.
Yeah, but they have a quarterback.
Yeah, but I think they would just trade back for draft capital.
Okay. You know what? Let's just go with Drake May.
You want to take May?
Predicting trades is
it is tough.
Yeah, too tough.
All right, this might be the easiest pick to predict in the entire first round. It's Marvin.
It's JJ McCarthy.
All right, pal. Marvin Harrison seems like you go to. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if there's this crazy pick where Malik Neighbors goes just because of how good his combine was.
I honestly don't think you can go wrong with any of the top 3 receivers in this draft.
Fair enough.
Although I don't think Rome would get taken over Marvin Harrison, I think that whichever team gets all 3 of those guys will be fine.
Fair enough. Marvin's one of the best college receivers ever, though. That last name, that entire name to begin with, is too big to pass up on. All right, this is where I have Minnesota trading up, and I have JJ going to Minnesota. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, we can do that. So what we've done here is we have Vikings trading up, giving away 11 and 23 for 5.
Yes. All right. I don't know if actually in Detroit they'll give up 23 as well, but I definitely could see it.
It could also be that they give away 2 firsts, a first and a second.
That's what I'm thinking. First and a second.
But that, since we're only doing 1 round, that doesn't really make sense to dwell on here. Exactly. So then they take JJ McCarthy.
Yep. JJ will be the future in Minnesota. That offense is going to hopefully do well a lot like they did with Kirk Cousins in the past. So we'll hope JJ's the answer. All right. Giants. This is probably the biggest pick in the entire first round. There are a lot of things they can do here.
They're going to take a wide receiver, I think.
So Neighbors or Rome?
Yeah. Neighbors, just because he's mocked higher. I think they'd be fine with either.
All right, yeah. I think,
but I'm also a little biased. I do really like Rome, and I do not want to see him go to a divisional rival. So
fair enough.
I'm gonna pick Neighbors here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Neighbors too, but I definitely would not be shocked if Rome went there. Tennessee, I think there's a lot of needs here.
I would go Joe Alt.
I agree. I think Joe Alt's the pick. If not, Dallas Turner's the next pick. It just depends on what their bigger need or want is at that point, but we'll take Alt.
Okay, so here I think that the Falcons trade back.
You think they trade back? Why would they trade back, though, if their number one need is edge? Or do you think they just trade one back with the Bears?
No, I think they trade out of the top 10.
Really?
Yeah. Get a first and a second out of it.
And get draft capital?
Yeah. So if we look at the picks here, I think they trade
I could see Seattle
To Seattle.
because Seattle really needs an edge desperately, and
Yeah.
this is where Dallas Turner would probably go. All right, we can do that.
Yeah. So
Get that going.
we got
We're like GMs for every team right now. so
Atlanta.
we have the rights.
Seattle.
Yeah.
So Atlanta gives up 8. Seattle gives,
16 and a third
and then let's just add
future,
a
like
future
third.
third.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Do it. I like it a lot.
So then Seattle, I think, takes Dallas Turner here.
Dallas Turner's probably the best defensive player on the board in this draft.
He will also be the first off the
Yeah.
board. I do, however, think that 8 is a little bit early, but that's
Yeah, I could see like because we always rely on mock drafts so heavy that I could totally see like a team like the Chargers staying at 5, and for some reason they take Dallas Turner. Like I could see it.
I think that the Bears take a wide receiver here, and the one that we have left in the
Rome.
top 10 is Rome.
I love that pick a lot. I think it makes so much
Caleb
sense.
Williams passing to Rome would be
Caleb
incredible.
Williams now gets a pass in his rookie year. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, and Rome.
Okay,
That's ridiculous.
let's talk Jets.
All right. So as a Jets fan, my number one want is an offensive lineman. Joe Alt is the man I would love to have, but I don't think we will. And therefore, I think the pick comes down to 2 guys, Fashanu or Brock Bowers. And if all of them are gone, then Oregon State's Talisi Fuaga.
I mean, I'm not a Jets fan, but I would take Fashanu here.
I
feel like
think so too.
when you have the weapons you have at wide receiver, tight end is not as immediate of a need.
Yeah,
So, should we take Olu here?
I like that pick. Yeah, let's take Olu. I mean, Joe Alt is obviously the number 1 guy they
Yeah,
want.
but
I
if
don't
Alt's
think they
already
can
off the
go
board.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Steelers have actually been
I've heard,
talked about
yes.
moving up to 12 here, but
Chargers at 11. This is where honestly, they always say tight ends not a big need for the Chargers, but can you honestly name their starting tight end off the top of your head?
well, they've had historically pretty decent ones, but right now I couldn't.
Gerald Everett, Donald Parham Jr.
Antonio Gates.
Well, okay, but like I'm talking
Like,
well, obviously. No, but like right
you mean
now.
the basketball player Antonio Gates? Sorry.
Abs-
They could take DJ Burns, but I don't know. I guess we could take Bowers here because they could address corner. There's a pretty decent amount of corner talent between the back end of the first round and the front end of the second round.
Yeah.
So I think that they can wait on that, and I would take Bowers here.
I would too, because I think the Chargers just need to stack up their offense. They need to give Herbert the weapons. Harbaugh's a new coach. He's an offensive-minded guy. Well, he's a defensive-minded guy, actually, but is coming into the league where it's offense heavy.
Yeah.
You got to take offense. I think Bowers.
I do think this is a bit of an overpick. I don't think he should be a top 15 pick.
Bowers?
I don't know. I just don't see teams utilizing tight ends as well as some of them get utilized in college. I don't see whichever team taking him using him like he's used in college. So I don't necessarily agree with using up this much draft capital on him. But that has nothing to do with how I think he's
I think if anything, if you were to compare prospect to prospect, Kyle Pitts to Brock Bowers, because they're the last 2 best tight end prospects, I like Brock a little bit better than Pitts.
Yeah, but Pitts has played in the NFL. It's a hard comparison.
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, Bowers has been the best tight end in college football for like the last how many years?
2 or 3. Pitts gets a real quarterback for the first time in his career.
That is true. So we're gonna see how.
And he's already been good before. Like he's been
Oh,
fine. He's been average, but he could be so much better.
Now he can be so much better.
But they'll have Herbert.
Yeah, and now you have a borderline to some even top 5 quarterback getting to throw to the most hyped up tight end prospect in a few years. I mean, I feel like it's got to be Brock. So we'll take Brock.
Yep.
All right. This is where I think the Steelers are going to trade up. Steelers obviously have a bunch of needs right now. They have Joey Porter at one end for cornerback, and that's their future cornerstone, but they need another. So I do think the Steelers could definitely trade up here and then take Arnold.
See, the issue I have with that is I think they have a much more desperate need
At O-lineman.
at O-lineman.
Because I know they love Amarius Mims. I know they've fallen in love with that kid.
So I feel like based on the trades we've done, I wouldn't put the Steelers trade in this mock.
And you know what? I think that this is gonna sound crazy, but with all the heat Denver's been under recently, just from their quarterback room status right now. I mean, after they traded for Zach Wilson, Denver fans are
They have Easton Stick, right?
and Jared Stidham.
Jared Stidham
That
and
might
Zach
be that
Wilson.
that's got to be the worst quarterback room in a long time.
I think one out of those three quarterbacks will come out this year and surprise fans. It'd be pretty good,
I
but
said my hot take was Jared Stidham ends up being a top 15 quarterback this year. I think he can. I mean, he's got the size.
he's
an
never
NFL
had like a real shot.
He never has. And also Cortland Sutton's unhappy. Denver knows they need to get
That
fans
trade
going.
could happen with the Steelers.
That's
They-
another big one. But you know what? I think this is where Arnold goes. You pair up an Alabama guy with an Alabama guy, Surtain with Arnold.
Yeah.
Solidify your cornerbacks for the next how many years? I mean, Surtain just got his fifth year option picked up, so I like that move.
Sorry.
The dictionary's open. All right, this team is in shambles right now. I'm gonna admit.
I don't really think it matters.
They
Who
need
they
a
pick.
they need a lot of things.
But I think if Mitchell's still on the board here,
they'll
they would take
Mitchell.
it.
They really need a cornerback. This is another one of those teams where I'm just like,
Not
there's so much you need in order to start contending. I personally believe they're gonna like verse better than Latu, just because I mean, hearing the best defensive player on a team that was number 4 in the country for the entire year and went undefeated, it's pretty big.
Mhm.
That's hard to pass
And
up on.
UCLA was not great.
Yeah, and UCLA wasn't a good team, and the competition they went up against was good, but was it Florida State good? I'm not sure. I think here they'll take Jared Verse, so I'm taking Verse.
Okay.
Indianapolis, this is a surprising team here because this is a team that is on the verge of being a solid playoff contender for the next few years. And I think they need one more piece. And I think it's at receiver.
Okay, so I feel like Brian Thomas
Brian
is the
Thomas Jr.
obvious answer.
Because I think now you have Michael Pittman Jr., you're gonna have Brian Thomas Jr., Alec Pierce is a solid guy to have. I mean, that's a solid wide receiver core. I like it. All right, ATL.
So now I think they take Latu.
I agree. I think this is where you take Latu.
I mean, I felt like last year the team was a quarterback away the whole year, like from being a really good competitive team. I'm not saying they'll win the Super Bowl now, but they have the pieces to be a playoff team and a competitive playoff team at that. It just all needs to click. And I think that the one thing that they really could address is edge rushers.
Yeah.
So I would take Latu here.
I like it too. The offense is there in Atlanta. It really is.
And their secondary is great too.
Yep, secondary is great. Offense looks amazing. There's a new head coach in town, and he seems like he's got his team motivated. You got Kirk Cousins, who's still in somewhat of his prime. We don't know, coming off an injury, but I'd assume he'll be fine. He's playing behind the divisional line.
He'll now have a supporting cast that's not just
that's not just Justin Jefferson.
That's not like he had some of the best wide receivers in football, but he didn't really have much else. His running back was rated 30th out of 32 in the NFL last year.
And now he's got Bijan. He's got Kyle Pitts. I mean, the kid.
A lot of weight has been lifted off of Cousins' shoulders coming into this year. So let's talk Jacksonville.
All right, Jacksonville had a very.
I feel like they're similar to the Raiders and Saints. I just don't know what exactly they need. Like, it's not obvious.
It's funny how Jacksonville went from having this star-studded cast of Ridley, Trevor, and people were like, "Oh my God, this team can make the Super Bowl like they did with Blake Bortles. Like, this team's ready." And then this past year, they fell off. They fell off, hit rock bottom. They almost looked like the third best team in their division, to be fully honest, because Tennessee's second half of the year was really good, and the Colts were just a solid team, even with injuries, and outplayed the Jaguars. I know Trevor got hurt, but this team still underperformed, and I believe that was more on the defensive side, because, I mean, Trevor got banged up for a reason. It's not because he ran a lot, it's because he got sacked a lot. But I think defense is the need here.
Byron Murphy feels like the obvious one.
I think so too, because I want to take an O tackle here, but at the same time, I think you need to address the best player available, and that's the defensive side of the ball. So we'll take Byron Murphy. I like that pick a lot. I think Jacksonville will be fine this year. They're gonna get back to that first place status, but the Colts are gonna give them a run for their money.
Okay, so I don't think they take Fuaga here. I know
Really?
offensive tackle is one of their needs, but the Bengals are weird when it comes to drafting. I think they're gonna take between Latham and Fautanu.
Okay, you know what? I like that too. I was gonna say Latham just because they love their Bama guys, and
Okay.
they have a history of taking Bama guys. So I like Latham here.
Okay. Rams.
There's a lot of stuff here. The Rams are in one of those positions where you need anything and anything
I think they reach. Take Jerzell Newton.
and fill in the air. Or do you think they just trade back?
They could trade back,
They
but I don't
could.
know who would trade up. Oh, I do
Let's
know
see.
who would trade up. Okay, ready?
I'll let you cook. Let them cook. Let them cook. Comment below on this video while we're making this trade. How do you think we're doing so far?
So I think Washington uses one of their seconds, and one of their thirds. It won't let me unselect that. I apologize.
Some of these trades aren't realistic. We're announcing them realistically, but like the things you see on your screen are not realistic.
Apologies. They use.
I think.
I think both of their seconds. Both of their second pick in each one, but just to make it even, I'm just gonna add a bunch of these picks
Yeah, let's
just
do that.
because we're not drafting past this round. Just
All
to
right,
make
I'm
it.
fine with this actually. I like that the Rams trade back because the Rams need a defensive they need that someone for that front
Okay.
four. So
It's
I
not
like-
working.
Oh my god. It's not trading?
Yeah.
Have we done like too many trades? All right, if we can't trade, we can't trade.
Okay. It's not trading. We're gonna edit that too.
All right.
So here, they'll probably go offensive tackle then.
The Rams realistically, I think they'll take Fuaga, California kid.
Steelers. Do they
Uh,
take DeJean if he's on the board?
I personally think they're taking Mims just because I think Mike Tomlin has come out and said this kid is solid. He's a raw prospect, but he is huge. Imagine Mekhi Becton.
No, and continuing the Georgia to Pennsylvania thing.
Yeah, it's Mekhi Becton, but a little bit of a more raw prospect, but came from a winning team.
We also have two different styles of quarterback that could play next year. So I think that someone who's versatile like Mims is a good pick. So we'll do that. Okay. More of the dictionary.
All right. This is where I might go against the needs here. I wouldn't be shocked if Cooper DeJean went here. I think Xavier Howard just has so many off the field problems right now that cornerback's going to become a need in a few years.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I actually have no argument for that. Okay.
And also, that just seems like the type of place Cooper DeJean would go.
Okay.
This is a big pick for Philly.
I think they take Graham Barden.
All right, I do too. All right, because I think Philly's line's getting old.
Well, also they lost Kelsey.
That too, and Barden, by the way, can play anywhere on that.
They can also afford to reach here. They've been a competitive team for the past, and that doesn't seem like it's really going to slow down. Like they might get a little worse, but I don't think they're going to become non-competitive. So they can afford to reach here. So that's why I have Barden.
But realistically, they didn't rebuild; they reloaded. I mean, look at the names they got. They brought in a top 3 running back in football when healthy. You can't.
That's a big when healthy.
It's a big when healthy. Like if Saquon is,
he also pads his stats by playing like prime college Reggie Bush every time he plays the Commanders. I mean, Daniel Jones plays like.
No, that is true.
Plays like Patrick Mahomes every time he plays against the Commanders.
And like if they're getting blown out with 5 minutes left, Daniel Jones just runs, and then people are like, "Well, we ran for 100 yards." Yeah, against backups. That's kind of what Barkley does.
Okay,
sometimes.
So I think here they address another need and they go OT.
Yep, exactly.
So Troy.
Yep, he's used to playing out west. I think it's a solid transition. Make that move. This is a really, really interesting pick.
They should go AD Mitchell.
I think AD Mitchell too, because he's the Texas kid. I could see Tyler Guyton because they lost Tyler Smith.
They also lost Biotage
Yes, that is true.
to your Washington Commanders. We took like half of their O-line.
The Cowboys have had a very awful offseason. Jerry Jones has waited and waited. They need to make a big
And they're
push.
still going to make the playoffs and lose in the first round, regardless.
And
of
then
who
they'll
they
win
take.
the division. Don't worry. They'll win the NFC East. They get lose in the first round, or maybe they get that really bad first round.
They won the
win.
NFC East this past year, right?
Yeah.
No, then it's not happening. It's been 19 years.
Has it really?
19 or 20 that there hasn't been a repeat winner.
So should we
Means
book
it's
it?
Washington's year. this
Oh,
year.
really?
Yeah. But it's
Oh.
definitely not the Giants.
I think that. Well, obviously.
It's not the Giants.
the
I don't think
Eagles-
it's the Eagles, so it's Washington.
Eagles are the better team on paper, but Mike McCarthy is a very good coach in the regular season.
Well, none of them have
But-
been coached by Dan Quinn right now. Anyways,
Well,
I think,
technically Dallas was.
yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Dak had an MVP.
Yeah, but
year.
he wasn't the head coach. So we're gonna take AD Mitchell here. Okay, Green Bay. Honestly, this team is so much better than people give them credit for.
I agree. This team's gonna make the playoffs this year again.
But I would
But
go
big time.
corner here.
I
I mean,
agree.
Keyshawn Nixon can't carry you to
I agree.
the Super Bowl.
I don't
So
care who we take.
Nate Wiggins, I'm not that high on
You
Kool-Aid.
don't think they go with another sick name for that secondary? They had Clinton Dix. Now you could take Kool-Aid.
Well, that would mean he would end up in Washington
Yeah.
at the end of his career. So let's go Nate Wiggins.
I like that pick. This is the team that shocked a lot of people.
Top
last year.
Robinson.
I agree. I think this team's gonna make the playoffs again. I think I like Baker a lot.
Well, it depends because it depends how the Falcons do. Because if the Falcons don't perform to expectations, Tampa has an easy shot at the playoffs. That's a weak division.
Well, I think both will make it. I have Tampa Bay winning the division.
I'm very high on Baker Mayfield.
I am too, because I mean, when Baker was the number one pick in the draft that year, I thought it was a little ridiculous. I thought it was going to be Darnold, but Baker. I mean, I watched him play a lot just because my father was a West Virginia fan. Watching Baker play in the biggest games is a lot of fun, and he was the best player in the field. And he's one of those guys that like you just knew he needed that opportunity, and he would just show everything, and that's what he's getting to do. Now he gets to throw to a Hall of Fame wide receiver and an All-Pro level talent when healthy.
So based on them addressing offensive needs already, I think they go edge here.
Yep.
They've also been really good at developing defensive line talent. I mean, we saw how Kalijah Kancey, I'm a little biased because he went to Pitt, but how he
Obviously.
progressed towards the end of the year, he was pretty dominant, to be honest.
He became a household name in the playoffs.
He fits like the Aaron Donald prototype.
I like that a lot.
Not
Yeah.
saying he'll be as good as Aaron Donald, but he plays a lot like him. And I think they could, why not add more? They'll have
I like it.
Cansey, Vea, Chop Robinson. I mean, I'd be afraid of.
I like the move. Let's do it. It's a solid move.
Okay.
All right, they're not trading back. They need to take people ASAP.
I would go with
ASAP.
Derzon Newton here. Or
Dude,
actually,
Jackson Powers
I would
Johnson.
take Jackson Powers.
That's what I was
Johnson.
thinking too. You know what? Address everything on the offensive side. Kyler Murray has gotten hurt way too many times because he has a
Yep.
horrible O-line.
Okay.
Take this kid, let him be your future cornerstone.
Okay.
Done.
Now we got pick 28. Now I think they get Kool-Aid.
I think so too. Buffalo
Because-
needs
or-
secondary.
They could reach for,
A receiver.
but I think that they address this need.
You need secondary. You just lost you lost Tre'Davious White, you lost Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. You need secondary.
Yeah.
I think they take Kool-Aid.
I would go Xavier Worthy here.
You think Xavier Worthy?
He's so fast. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not John Ross.
And
Because they took
also-
John Ross 9th overall in that draft. I don't think this is as much of a
God,
risk.
imagine. Oh, I remember. Well, also today, by the way, right before this draft, Detroit decided to unleash the bank, and they extended Penei Sewell.
I mean, out of the available
else?
players over
on.
here, do you really think that they need to address a need enough where they would move back, like take Darius Robinson? I don't think he's worth using.
They need
this
a
pick
receiver.
on.
They need one more weapon.
Yeah, so I would say Xavier Worthy.
I'm
over
with you
Len
there. I like
McConkey.
it. I think they'll take either Worthy or McConkey.
I don't think either is a bad pick, but I think they
But
take
yeah,
Worthy.
I think they need a speedster for a slot.
Okay. Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, no, that's the obvious pick.
They need
They need a line.
they can take someone in the second or third round. I'm actually not sure what picks they have. But wide receiver talent is pretty deep this year. I mean, you could get a guy like Bub Means in the fourth round. Like, I'm not saying him exactly,
No, yeah.
but
I'd take Guyton here though.
but I don't think they need to take a wide receiver here. And we have the Niners.
All right. So for you fans that might not be aware of where we are students of the University of Pittsburgh. We follow the Steelers. It's kind of a forceful thing, but we follow them.
I have no idea where you're going with
Okay,
this.
well, let me cook. Brandon Ayuk has been heavily connected to the Steelers.
It's not happening.
I think it's going to happen.
I'm ready to be proven wrong, but I don't think that the Steelers have enough trade capital, as in players who are good enough to be traded.
I think they would just trade draft capital simply.
Okay.
I think they would trade a few first, but I think realistically here they're gonna take a receiver,
So that would be,
and I think it's Ladd McConkey
okay.
because I do think they're prepping for Ayuk to go away, and also Debo gets hurt way too much, where their number one receivers are nobodies.
I don't even know who you'd pick here. What needs do they have?
Bo next.
I would not reach on a quarterback when you have Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
I think it's
You know-
I think it's a waste of a pick if you think the guy's not gonna play.
I honestly almost clicked on running back and I forgot they had Pacheco. How many years is how old is Pacheco?
He's pretty young.
I know. I'm just trying to think of his contract.
I remember watching him at Rutgers.
That's crazy.
I think
Back in my day.
Okay. I also remember the first time I watched Michael Penix. It's when he was at Indiana and they won in overtime by him like extending his arm.
Oh, you know what?
That was 21, I think.
Chris Jones is gonna retire soon.
So
Take Newton.
okay.
I think we did pretty good.
Okay. So if this saves correctly, okay, here's what we got. Sorry about the ads. Here are our trades. I'm not gonna say them out loud.
Oh no, but these are actually right.
I think that's whatever. Then you get Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, first three. Marvin, JJ. That's via trade
JJ's trade. Yeah.
with the Chargers. Malik Neighbors, Joe Alt, Dallas Turner. That's a trade with the Falcons. Rome, Olu, then Brock Bowers, Arnold, Mitchell, Verse, Thomas, Latu. That's the trade with the Chargers once again.
Yep.
Murphy, Latham, Fuaga, Mims, DeJean, Barden, Faltanu, trade with the Falcons again. AD Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, Chop Robinson, JPJ, Kool-Aid, Xavier Worthy, Tyler Guyton, Ladd McConkey, Jerzon Newton.
All right. Who is your winner of this draft?
Chargers.
I think the Bears. I mean, you got
True.
two top 10 guys. You just solidified a future possible all-pro level talent at receiver, and you've got the best quarterback.
Yeah, I didn't think about
prospects
that.
ever.
I would say a non-obvious answer would be the
I think the
Chargers.
Commanders are right there.
I
think you had a solid.
see,
draft.
I don't necessarily love Daniels. I feel like he has a high boomer bust, which
I
I'm
think-
worried about.
I
And
think you're gonna take May.
I think we're gonna take Daniels. I want to take May because I feel like he has a higher floor, but I'd say it probably goes Bears in this draft, Chargers, and then Commanders.
Okay. And you know what? The Chargers, obviously, they're gonna be a big boomer bust team this year. I mean, you have a new coach, but the coach just won a national championship. He's been in the NFL before. He's got a Super Bowl ring, so he's clearly done something right. Oh wait, no, that's
He
his
lost.
brother. No, wait, what?
Yeah,
No,
that was a
he-
great Super Bowl, by the way.
Phenomenal Super Bowl. If you haven't seen him, please go watch it. But no, yeah, he lost
The
that Super Bowl.
blackout Super Bowl. Do you
God,
remember that?
Colin Kaepernick and Joe Flacco. Remember the time when
Pitt legend.
Kaepernick and Flacco at one point were two of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yes. Anyways, we're gonna end our video here. Thank you for watching our mock draft, and We might do a review video to see how bad we did.
I think we actually did pretty good.
Yeah,
Because you know what? I feel like most drafts usually end up looking like this, where there's like that mid draft where it's like O-line, O-line, O-line,
Mhm.
quarterback, O-line, O-line.
this would be the most offensive players taken in the top 10 in the post-merger era, even with Dallas Turner getting
really?
taken. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Oh my, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because the only other guy I can see going in the top 10 is obviously Terry and Arnold.
But I don't think so.
I don't really see it.
Anyways, thank you for watching.